one. Injection. Hey, we're back in this new podcast here. Boy, we got some stuff going on right now. We're trying to actually wait for my man, K-Dog, to get on the microphone and get right to it. We're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff, man. We're going to be going over here with it, over there with it. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. But the main concern today is going to be Trump. Oh, man. Play the trumpet. Trump. We got to get back onto it with Trump and some other stuff. But right now I'm going to do a rant before we start even getting into the video. Okay. All right. I'm out with my wife. Man, we had a great time. Set the ambiance of this whole thing. We're just being honest. We don't go out like that. We haven't gone out in a long time. A few times we went out, it just didn't work out right. Bad timing on my behalf. Anyway, fast forward now. We went to the place the other week. Dope. Went back again. It was still good, but things were a little off. When you have a person and they're drunk and you are in a sober mindset looking at something and you think something is going on like this. I seen something I'm over there by the speaker, and my wife did this to this dude, like chop his arm. I was like, whoa. So what I did was I assessed it, didn't really react. I just went over there, sat, and see them. They didn't know I was behind them or nothing. Just wait, see how this goes. So how did it go? My wife started to talk. I was like, wait a minute. I thought it was a problem. So I came here with the problem-solving emotion. And then I looked and was like, oh, but you guys are conversating. Why? Too much vocals to me for a married. Now, if we were dating, it's kind of cool. But we're married. You giving Joker too much vocals. You know what I mean? He in here for business. He's in here to go get some pussy. That's where he's there for. And he's looking at you like a wounded duck. Easy prey. We started going back and forth mildly. What I should have did was I said, you know what? Yes, you're right. You're right.
A bullshit?
Me and her always get into it with, we're saying the same thing, but different. It's almost like I want a sub. But saying a sub is not a sandwich. It's a sandwich, but it's a sub. It's a sub sandwich, but it's not a sandwich, but it's a sub. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. So my man K-Dog right now, he's about to come in. Right now he hears me over here ranting. He heard me ranting in the background. I want to get that rant off my chest, brother. And I did by myself. Oh, man, I got it all out. I didn't say no bitch, hoe, nothing. I did good. But I had to get it out because I know that was going to creep in some kind of way. So now we can start with the Way Left podcast. And I am Wayne Bird. And then my man right there, that is
K-Shizzle. So you, as the producer and co-host, that you don't like to wear that
title. I'm co-hosting. Oh, man, I'm on the back end of this ship.
Okay, so he finally wants to grab a rudder and help steer. So
from the back.
You're on the backstroke. Pause.
Gotta get off this boat now, man. Gotta get off this boat.
So, read it a while ago because you wanted to talk about. Well, you tell everybody what you want.
All right, driving along, listening to a radio station, and then they talked about the issue that Trump are going to get rid of all of those they and them, meaning the alphabet people, the transgenders in the military. I was like, woo, woo. Now, there are two high-ranking officials that transitioned to a man that is in the military right now. I think it was the Air Force, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if it's not the Air Force, but I figure it's the Air Force. One has been there for 14 years and one has been there for 7 years. Decorated with all the glitters and glitz and everything, man. No honorable discharge or dishonorable discharge. They still in the mix, wanting to fight for the country, right? But they're going to get fired. This is what's going down. They're going to get fired. But to keep their job, they have to they have to trans back. They got to put it in reverse in their transmission. They got to put it in reverse. If you was a dude, you going back a dude. If you was a chick, you're going back a chick. So that's what they're doing. And it seemed it got some legs on this thing. And then my man K-Dog did some research and shoot him. Tell me what you found, brother.
It's got legs because it's on the DoD website right now. So if you go to the DoD website, you'll see this is the Department of Defense. Excuse me. And you'll see basically a narrative of the executive order that Trump signed. And there's no specific things in there like what you're talking about. Like there's no specific individuals that they're targeting or anything like that.
Right.
It strictly deals with, let me get the proper term, gender dysphoria. So anyone who, now here's where the language gets a little bit tricky. And we talked about this off camera a little bit. If you're saying anyone who suffers from gender dysphoria, that makes it sound like some sort of mental, disease, right? But if you look again at the consensus seems to be that the definition is one who suffers from a feeling that their assigned gender at birth does not truly belong to them, doesn't represent them. They were born in the wrong body. So I'm a man and I have this gender dysphoria because I feel like while my body is a man's body, I'm a woman through and through. Right? From my rooter to my tutor, I'm a woman.
Okay, so you could be a dog now, right, K-Dog? Officially.
See, that's another part of the argument, right? Now, this talks about, who you can marry and all that, right? So if I'm a dude and I can marry a dude, then what's stopping me from marrying a dog? Well, if you marry me, you have married a dog, right? So if that's what you're doing, you can't see, it deals with gender, not species. Species dysphoria might say
totally different.
Totally different. I'm born a man and a Homo sapien, but I feel like I'm a cat. I'm a little pussy cat.
Pussycat. Now hold on to that pussycat. One of the kids in the high school in New Jersey told me that there was a girl in the hallway meowing.
Yeah.
Put a tail on her. Nobody can say nothing.
Now,
they didn't want to talk to her. High school.
High school.
At the time. High school. Meow. Meow. The girl identifies as a cat.
Cat. High school. So if her parents put her up for adoption, would they be giving away the pussy?
Oh boy. K-Dog is here all night, people. Drinks are $25. Sometimes $10 at the bar.
2 drink minimum. I'm here all night.
Minimum. Yeah, all night.
My daughter did the exact same thing. She was 8. And for this is during COVID, I think. It was either during COVID or I just had them for the weekend. I can't remember which. But for a handful of days, she was a cat. And she purred and meowed and all that kind of stuff. And when she had to speak, she spoke. But if there was absolutely no reason for her to speak, she meowed. And she was 8, so we played along. We played along until she got over it. And she was really into this Ariana Grande character on the little kids show.
Right.
And I think Ariana Grande had some influence in that.
Some tutelage.
She had some tutelage in there. Because either she was a cat on the show or just that high squeaky voice she was using. Something along those lines. So she does not suffer or did not suffer from species dysphoria. She was being a kid. I remember very vaguely, because my mom reminded me that I did this in kindergarten. I wanted to be a lion for the day. And so I was a lion for the whole day.
Not a dog,
vaguely
but a lion.
Yeah,
Kevin
not a dog,
Lion Phillips.
Yeah.
Kevin Lion. God damn, you could have been a lion? Kevin Lion.
I do be a lion.
You be a lion.
I do be a lion. I did it again.
Yeah.
Remember to tip your waitress at the end. So
Yes.
I don't think kids being kids, and this goes into, do we give children these drugs, these surgeries? Do we allow them to change their gender at such an early stage? And I think if you take the example of me being a lion, or my daughter being a cat, or this girl in high school being a cat as well, uh, and those are phases that were short lived. Mine was a day, my daughter was a weekend. I don't know how long this high school girl's been at it and how long she plans on continuing, but I would imagine at some point she's going to drop that as well. And so, do you allow a child to make this decision knowing that there's a real possibility that he or she or whatever could drop that and not want to continue on with something that may be irreversible?
Right. Like, I know he's probably going towards the Dwayne Wade situation with his daughter. And, it was a little bit too early for my taste. Should have waited when he was 18, kind of know that this is the route that he wanted to take. But they chose to do this really early.
Well,
I just think it was a little bit too early. It's just like you can't prosecute kids for murder in certain cases because they're
in
too
certain
young.
cases, it's been
Yeah,
done.
in certain cases. Yeah, it's been done, but most of the time you get
Well,
slapped on the wrist. Well, not with murder is a little extreme, but any kind of violent crime. But I have to use murder because it's that extreme, going from boy to girl, girl to boy.
yeah. Right.
It's
I
extreme.
mean, somebody could argue that it's a form of murder, right? You are murdering your born self, right? Uh, the guy said in Game of Thrones, he told Jon Snow to kill the boy, Jesus Christ, when I was a child, I did childish things and I became a man, basically killing the boy, right? I think we talked about it on camera, but wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be on camera when we talked about the many lives that you live. I was a 5-year-old in kindergarten. That kid's long gone. That kid's long dead. And then my high school version of myself, that's long gone, right? So we live, the old saying, we live and then we die, is not really fully accurate if you look at it from this point of view. You live and die. And then you're born again and you continue on living, but these various versions of yourself, the baby, the child, and then it's 360 degrees. You're cared for.
God body talk. Hold on, don't go away with that God body talk. When you put that 360 degrees, man, that God body talk. That God body, speak on it, God. Speak on it, God.
I mean, it makes sense today because today's the 30th, right?
Ooh,
So
speak that. Speak that.
understand, today's mathematics is understanding. 30 is deciphered, so 0 is deciphered. So, 360 degrees makes sense for today. So
Woo.
you could take these lives that you live and then you live and then you die and then you continue on living. You go from the baby in the cradle to a big old baby if you live long enough in what it essentially amounts to a cradle or a carriage, right? Because you're being wheeled, you're being fed, you're being,
Being diapered.
should your body degenerate in that fashion, right? You're going back, I mean, we're all, not all of you in the audience or the 8 people that are going to watch this, but the you and me on this podcast right now, the third quarter is over. The third quarter is over.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter is just starting.
Right.
We're in the fourth quarter. And if we continue on to the end of the game, you're going to see a degeneration. 9 times out of 10, there's degeneration now. You don't run as fast, you don't jump as high, you don't look as good. Now, except, I mean, me, I'm, a little different, but, most.
He Benjamin Button. Dog.
I'm doing the
Button
Benjamin
dog.
Button thing. Actually, I was surprised that Not only that you have your locks still at all. I was surprised you had them at all. But the fact that, you have them and they're not much different from what I remember.
No, it's just no color. The loud colors back then. What the kids are doing now, I did this in the 90s with the super duper. He said it. Yo, bro, why you got all that? Man, why you do that? I said, man, this is what I'm doing, dog. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make my hair look like this, the seed dyed it,
Right,
and look at it now.
Well, all that's gone.
All of it's gone. It dropped out, but the whole generation of kids are doing it.
Yeah. Now they do it. They do it now. Back then, when you was doing it, you looked like a pair of Ghostface Wallabies when you was doing it.
Yeah, I look
First
crazy.
you die.
But all you die is the tip. I went crazy. I went crazy. I went all the way in. But to bring it back full circle, back into the military thing, in the transgender community. Yeah, and I have a fear that when this thing goes in, it's just going to morph into other different things. Like we was talking about with the girl with the school. You talk about, your daughter tap dance on it. You tap dance on it. I mean, God dang it. We tap dance on it every single day. Some men ain't men. Some dads ain't dads. Some moms ain't moms. I mean, we can go all the way in. Some people putting labels on themselves that they really are not. But the extreme, extremely now, we were talking about sex flip-flopping and all of that. It's wild. This thing is scary. I feel it opens doors to other things. What? I don't know. It's unknown. What's it to you, buddy? Talk to me.
Well, see, I'm not with Martin Luther the King on most things, but I am with him on this one two statements that he made. But I'm with him on this one thing in particular. Injustice somewhere is an injustice everywhere. So if I'm going to say that these transgender people are to be withheld from any right at all, any right that any other person could utilize or is afforded, then that is a form of discrimination, full stop.
Yeah,
now,
no doubt about it.
You can say that if I'm hesitant to say this, but
let's hear it.
I'm going way left. If you're an Umar Johnson, right, you're going to call these things mental disorders. These are mental disorders in the minds of not just Umar Johnson. Lots of people are on this page. And you would find that very many black people, Christian black people, are on this page. Here's the problem I have with this. If I were to call you a Christian conservative, you would associate that with the right, far right, evangelical, Christian, white, nationalist group, right? You would associate that with that. But if you're talking about the same things, the same forms of discrimination, then my description of you is accurate. You are a Christian conservative. And you'll find that a lot of black people fit that description. You're anti-abortion, you're anti-gay rights, you're anti-gay marriage, you're anti-transgender affirming, medications and surgery. That's where you land, right? Now,
but
there may be some other things that you identify with that don't qualify for that. Go.
Yeah. So now when you go up in there, you see the pastor with his colorful shirts tied up. What my people say? What your mama say?
Well,
you see that? Yeah.
There's also Twerk Franklin.
Woo, twerk.
Right?
What my people say?
Yeah. Now he's out there. Right? Now that's
Not
another
good.
thing that I'm gonna take a pass on today.
We will revisit Twerk.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You don't. Yeah. Kurt
Franklin
Franklin, least of all, gets a pass for this performative Christianity that he's doing, because it's all performative. The
I
same
see what you're
way.
saying.
Listen, you asked me
I
a
see.
long time ago, and I think we talked about this on the podcast, not podcast, because that was day one. But you asked me a long time ago, how is it possible for these Catholic priests to touch on these kids and mess with these little boys, the altar boys, and all this kind of thing? And we were in Rawway in front of a black-owned print shop. We was out there
Gotcha.
building. We was out there building in the cipher, and I said, simply put, they do it because they know there's no God. So
Sit with that, people. Hold on. You're thinking that he's an atheist, but that's not where it's going.
no, I'm not an atheist. I
Not
believe
an
in creation.
atheist.
Yeah, I believe in creation. I believe in a creator. I don't believe in a God that would let one house burn and not the other. That's all. So you believe that this man can sing to God, because that's what praise music is supposed to be. You're not singing to an audience. You're supposed to be singing to God. This is praise music. Praising who? Praising your creator. So why are you doing that? Not in the confines of your own home, but on a stage in front of 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 80,000. Now,
What people say.
People say it's $70 a ticket. That's what the people say. The only way you can be Kirk Franklin, sing this music, bang every chick that catches your eye in the crowd, come to a city near you where there's always a college somewhere nearby, and do all that and have literal orgies after every show. The only way you can do that is you believe there's no God for me to worry about.
What the seniors say. What the sophomores say.
What the sorority say.
What the sorority.
What the women's group say.
The women's group say. Oh.
This is where that exists. So that's where that exists. You are a Christian conservative in his case. He's a Christian in name only. If you are a Christian who believes that all God's children are given alienable rights or inalienable rights or God-given rights to be and choose and live as they choose, then in my mind, you're a Christian. If you believe that not to be the case, then in my mind, you're a Christian conservative. So the thing that struck me about the COD website was that if you do not fight it, you're going to get excommunicated from the military.
Crazy.
Most people that sign up for the military get a bonus. You get a sign-on bonus. Most people who continue on are offered additional bonuses if they want to continue beyond those first 4 years. And in some cases, you get bonuses in between that for other things. And you can keep all that if you leave willingly, if you don't fight it. Your severance will...
Or put it in reverse, that transmission.
Right. Or you can just simply... or you can simply transmission back to whatever you were, right?
Right.
When you were born.
Yes.
So you have those, I guess we're at 2 options at that point. Those are 2 options.
Yeah.
So you can fight it, you can transmission, or I think we just coined a new phrase, or you can fight it. But your severance for not fighting it is like $109,000. That's your payout, $109,000 in that neck of the woods.
That's not bad.
If you fight it. And what's not fully explained, so there's a caveat because it's not fully explained. If you fight it and lose, right? You'll receive about half that. You'll have to pay back your bonuses. So you have to pay back all the bonuses you got, and you're losing about half. You're losing about half the track, half your bag.
Oh, so what you guys are gonna do? Put that transmission in drive. Get it in drive. Go
and take the 100,000.
Take the 100,000 if you first. Let me get all this out the order. You know what I mean? Look, it's wrong. It's dead wrong. This whole thing is crazy and it's wrong. But if you ain't got the money to fight tonight, put it in drive. Get that $150K, put it in drive.
And get up out of there.
And get up out of there.
I mean, but see now, none of these people were drafted, right? So what is your passion? If your passion is the military, right? It's just like any other passion. If I snatched your passion away from you tonight, how would you take it? Not well.
Right? Oh, no. Oh, no. Because, most people don't have any plans when they're doing this military thing. They stay all the way to the end. Kind of, who are 7 years, 8 years. I mean, god dang, that's a long time. 14 years. They staying for the whole ride. Those who are doing 4 years, you just may do your 4 years and roll. We know many guys and gals who did that. Go for schooling, tooling.
Right. GI Bill, free education. Yeah.
But do they pay for the transmission overhaul? I mean, do the Army pay for that? That's what some people are worried. You are automatic transmission in your body, and then you want to convert it to stick. Or you was already stick transmission and you want to go automatic. Who paid for it? Now me, I don't give a damn who paid for it, but people out there are asking, who paid for such thing?
Military, so you don't want to speak. You don't want to speak half truths, right?
That is very true. Alleged.
But my interpretation would be this, based on what I read, and just based on common sense. My interpretation would be this: the military, or the government, or the taxpayer would indirectly pay for it, because all military staff, all federal employees, all state, local, county employees, all basically have single-payer insurance, right? You're basically fully covered for whatever medical procedure you may need, any medical care that you might need, right? Now, I cannot imagine a world where some military person could go to a VA hospital and get their junk chopped off, right? I don't see that as a scenario.
Or getting some titties done and some booty done.
I don't see a world where you can go to a VA hospital, because I don't believe the VA hospital would be equipped for such a procedure, right? So you have to go in network, right, and find someone who's going to do this. And if you do, there may be a copay, there may be a deductible, there may be things like that. But the American taxpayer is going to pick up some of that tab because it's insurance, right? So when people say the taxpayer is paying for it, and they use that as the bullet point, the talking point, whatever, it sounds like they walk into a hospital, get this done, and they don't pay for it at all. We are direct, like each one of us has to sign a check into that system. That's not what's happening. What's happening is that they are insured. At best, this is what's happening. They are insured. They go and they get this treatment under their insurance plan that they pay into either through their labor or with a real monetary contribution. And that is what happens, So am I paying for it? Is the government paying for it? Are we paying for it? In a sense, yes. But in a sense, no. Because if you're on Medicare, I'm paying for your dentures. I'm paying for, your ED pills. I'm paying for quality of life medications and services and procedures for you. The hernia that I got fixed was a quality of life procedure. It wasn't dire. I'm not on death's door now. Door. I don't know the phrase. Death's door belt.
Yeah. Knocking on heaven's door.
Good save. So that wasn't dire, right? The state paid for well, no, I shouldn't talk about that. But the state pays for
Women's
women's to be
women.
artificially inseminated so that a family can have kids where the couple struggled, right?
Ooh,
And
that's
I
a
can
lot of
tell
money
you,
there.
in the state of New Jersey, that procedure is going to run you in the tens of thousands. And I know for a fact, won't say how I know, but I know for a fact that it costs you very little out of pocket to do so. It is basically, for all intents and purposes, considered your right to bear children, which is, I don't know if that's your right, but that's how it's treated in New Jersey. And there's probably a handful of other states that follow that because it's not federal. So that's a state law issue. So the money is a problem. Fighting it and possibly losing is a problem. The reason behind it is vague and unclear. When you listened to the radio and heard this story,
Yes.
was this a conservative radio station or were you listening to NPR?
Well, they weren't. The host that was hosting the show, they weren't. They thought it was wrong. You know what I mean? That they can't do this. Now, their faith is what their faith is. I think one is. I want to say one was Jewish, and the other, Catholic. Yeah, I can say Catholic, and yeah, they say it's wrong. I mean, I think that wrong is wrong and right is right in this type of thing, man. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. That's it. Point blank, it's just wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't think me. Look at it like this. I mean, you're a man of many talents, right? You know about certain things as far as, like, let's say military stuff. What did the Romans do back in the day? They want them to fight harder and strong. Did they use to make them fight stronger because their lover was being killed and made them? I mean, did they do that in a kind of way?
Oh, well, so the Romans have a very checkered past when it comes to sex. It was very much understood during Roman times that sex was sex. They did not look at gender and things like that the same way we do in, you want to say, modern society. Romans,
Romance.
well, right. That's you joke a little, but that's, yeah. It's a root word, yeah. That's actually more real than you may realize. Um, but yeah, they did not distinguish gender when it came to sex, the same way we do now, and the same way that most nations did even then. So there's that. Yes, your, let's just say, ability to fight, right? Your there's a better word I can't think of right now, but they used women and children as a motivating tool to get you to fight. Not only that, but you were also incentivized to do so because you would be afforded a side piece. Here's your little side thing, right? And your wife was made to understand because you fought in the war. And the woman was made to understand, the woman that was basically given to you was made to understand because you fought in the war. This is the other side of the spoils of war, right? You were given this. So this
women,
was your motivation.
So they got sausage. You telling me they picked sausage over the taco? They didn't have tacos in Roman times. But
Well,
you know where I'm going.
It was, yeah. There's nothing but men on the battlefield.
Yeah. Sweaty men's. Pretty men's.
See,
strength.
Nowadays, you have what they call the combat jack.
Hit me up
right
to this.
before
Whoa,
you
whoa,
go
whoa.
into combat. Yeah, so it's nothing but men, right, on the battlefield typically. Now you have some women, but mostly men on the front lines and all that. Prior to combat, you would combat jack. Go somewhere in the woods and,
And
love
Jack
on yourself, and then, right.
combat on
And then
Jack.
go out and do your thing. You combat jack.
Nah.
Yeah, I can't even mouth it. I can't even say it.
Nah, dog.
But
Nah, dog. Nah, dog.
What? You
Nah,
saying this is
that
not a
ain't a
thing?
thing. That can't be a
Yeah,
thing.
it's 100% a thing. It's 100% a thing.
Nah.
Well,
So
I
wait a
mean,
minute.
think about
So I can't even eat flapjacks. I can't eat flapjacks.
you could eat flapjacks
Or
if
I
you
gotta
want.
say
Just
pancakes. I gotta
you
say
got yeah.
pancakes.
I would. You better say
Not
pancakes.
flapjack.
Yeah.
Oh,
Somebody might misinterpret you're wanting a flapjack. You know. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. It wasn't like a circle jerk. You know. You would go by yourself,
that's another
and
one.
you would
Wow.
what
The
circle
elephant
jerk.
walk.
The elephant
Elephant
walk.
walk.
Yeah, that
Your
wasn't
trunk
going.
on his
That's
trunk.
not going on. You go in the woods and you know, and then you grab your AK-47 and you go to war. And then when it's over, if you survive it, right, all of that, you know, anxiety and everything that comes with it, that has to go somewhere. So you combat jack. You go and you know, and now that's, you know, it's just like what you do when you have insomnia. You know, you never you never spoon and slip some woman because you can't sleep. You just, you know, baby, come on, baby, just let me, cause I'm trying to fall asleep. I can't sleep, and so you know,
So you hit him with the
just
old dirty. Oh, baby, baby, come on. Baby, baby, come on.
yeah, you know, 2 minutes later,
In a barrier.
and you fall asleep.
Oh, hit him with the Al Jarreau.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. Then you can fall asleep. You know,
So,
I
all
remember
right.
having insomnia. Insomnia?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'm diagnosed insomniac, but I mean, everybody sometimes, right? Because there's like this weird in this medical, scientific, biological terms that I don't know. But if you stay up past your bedtime, right, you'll be sitting there telling yourself you need to fall asleep, you need to fall asleep. And if you continue to stay awake, there's a point where you'll push past and you'll say, now I can't go to sleep. Now it's 3 a.m. and I can't go to sleep. You know, some people
Okay,
simply call
I
it,
got
you
you.
know, a second wind. But yeah, so that can happen. If that happens to you, that's when you got to go upstairs and tap your wife on the shoulder.
Stop. Man. Stop. Stop. Ew.
I don't know why.
Ew.
Why can't they just? Why can't they just say okay?
No, dog. They're not going to say okay. 9 times in 10, these are married couples. See, I ain't going there. Where's the water? God dang. I ran out of water. God.
My
I'm getting like
friend,
the rock now. Getting like the rock. Getting like the rock now.
let me spit out
Man.
this thing. Let me spit out my Zen. Zen.
Oh, Zen. Oh,
Are you sick of
you rock with
smoking
the
and
Zen.
stinking and messing up your bed sheets? Try a
Ooh.
Zen.
Try
So
Zen.
let me spit out my Zen
Where's
because I
the
don't
other
need
one?
that no
Where's the
more.
other one? The juice. Mango Tango.
Bingo, bango.
Bingo. Mango
You
Tango.
like
They're
a
gonna make
soda?
that.
Try a bingo bango.
It comes in
Strawberry
mango.
lemonade. I'm not sure if it
We're
comes in
gonna
mango.
no, we're gonna make
Comes
them
in
with a
ginger ale.
mango.
I'm gonna
Ginger
call them.
ale.
I'm gonna call them
And
up
how
and let
much
them
them
know
things cost? $5 a pop.
they $5. It's a luxury. It's I got one in the refrigerator. This is what happens when you have something that's, I was gonna say overpriced. I'll say expensive.
Expensive.
When you have something
Or
expensive and there's no shelf life on it necessarily, you're afraid to consume it. You know, it's been in the refrigerator for a week because I'm waiting for like the perfect scenario. Like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm not going to gulp it down. I'm not going to drink it
yeah, those
while.
things. Yeah.
It's got to be like, now's the time to drink. Now's the time to drink it. Now's the time. And
All right.
that's when I'm going to have it. I
All
was going
right.
to crack
Like
it
I could.
open on camera. Um,
Right.
but
I mean,
again,
do
it
we
was
do that
like,
with everything? Do you think we do that with everything? Like it has to be a perfect time. Like it's gonna sound weird when I indulge in late night horizontal mambo at night with my bed with wife inside. I kind of almost like it to be a perfect time. I like to be in sync, kind of, because it makes the experience to me. I'm kind of weird like that.
You want
You
to
know what
be
I
in
mean? I
sync
don't
with
like to.
her?
Yeah, and I don't want a whole bunch. I want more quality. I want to be like, God damn that, yeah, yeah, that back bender, and then with the bop, the bop, bop, bop. You know, I want it like that versus brr, 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 next day, brr, brr, next day, brr, brr, next day, following day. It just gets worse and worse. Yo,
Well,
rub on your arm. Boop. Oh, damn. You know, it gets real bad. I would like for it to be more meaningful, more, more quality, like that drink you got there. You just don't want to just go sit. You don't just want to go sip on some of that thing and it's gone. You ain't really get to feel the whole.
I'm certainly like that, or was like
Was,
that.
was, was, was.
um, when it came to uh,
Sex.
as
I'm
as
similar
as
to the Thriller in Manila.
as
People call me
no.
dog, the booty filler.
Pause. The what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, when it came to as Granddaddy IU would call it, something new, then yeah, definitely
Hold on. Let me just do that. If you had a Jeep or a car back then, that was a tune to bump. Tough, boy. All right, go back on it, man. God dang it.
something new
Tough.
from the Granddaddy IU was a dope joint. So when it came to something new, like all right, there was a chick years ago, long time ago,
Many moons.
many moons, could barely remember,
Many moons.
so long ago, and
But he's going to tell you what he remember.
in detail.
I barely remember.
I barely
I barely
remember. I
remember.
barely remember. But I think it was a Tuesday, somewhere around 4:30 p.m. Sun was
The
shining,
Cosby
slight
Show.
overcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the Cosby Show was on. I was watching Cosby. The Cosby Show was on. Theo
yeah.
just got kicked out of the
Theo,
house.
yeah. Way back then.
Cosby
Now
Show.
this was some years ago.
Yeah.
We're inching, right? And it's kind of like a work wife situation. And so we're inching.
I had one of them.
Yeah. And we're playing around with it. You know, one day we were sitting at a table with a bunch of other people and somebody was saying something and she was like, oh no, me and you, we're fucking, you know. But this was just another joke, right? Oh no, we're fucking. And then we just continued on with the conversation. Now, of course, me, I'm like, when?
Yeah,
Been
like
waiting
now?
on this. Yeah, now? So what happens is the now becomes now. But it's going down. If it's going to go down, backseat of my Jeep, let's swing an episode, maybe behind the dumpster, maybe in the
Damn.
bathroom, something
Huh?
like that. And I say no to all of that. Like, no, because I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to,
Romancing.
yeah, yeah.
I
There
want a
won't be,
romantic call.
yeah,
And me baby down on me, yeah.
no roti,
But a romance, no roti,
no
no
roti,
roti,
no plantain,
no rice, no plantain,
no
no
pea,
what do you call it? No ginger beer,
no
red
festival.
stripe, no festival, no curry goat. Nah, man, no curry goat.
Yeah,
None of that. None of
yeah,
that, boss. None of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Man,
I want the rocker curry boat.
damn. What? That's a new one. I want a
Yeah.
rocker curry boat. God damn. A green boat. Curry go. Boom. We go. There we go. Chicken on the middle. Chicken on the middle. Chicken on the middle. Chicken on the middle.
So I said, begrudgingly, I said no. But I said no with the kind of sensitivity that I actually did feel a little bit, right? Like there was actually some feeling behind the words, you know. So I get that. Now, had we done it, because we never did, had we done it in a nice space with the romance and everything like you're talking about, right? And let's say we continue that on for, a really, really long time in dog's world. So about 6 weeks, right?
Right. That's long.
And that's like an eternity. So for those 6 weeks, I'm going to want,
Y'all married.
yeah, in doggy's universe. So I'm going to, 6 weeks, I'm going to want what you're talking about for sure.
Right.
But I'm
Right.
going to also want some free use. You know, I'm going to want a cure for my headache. I'm going to want, you know, come on down. I'm going to want naughty. You know, we shouldn't be doing this because they're downstairs. You know, they might be able to hear you. You know, I'm going to want that.
Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. You want the baby right next to us. And many of you kids out there, y'all got that echoing in your child.
Right. You got that childhood trauma. It was probably from something like that. Yeah. If you're
Yes.
oversexed now as an adult male, it's probably because your mom was reaching out for you at one point, just trying to shush you.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to shush you. You. No, not my mama. Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
your mama.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Beating mama. Blah, blah.
What you doing to mama?